I understand what the purpose of fact checking, right? You're trying to make sure that there's no misinformation or disinformation, especially for those people that are not so good at doing their research, or furthermore, preventing certain people from taking advantage of other individuals that probably don't have the same intellectual capacity or access to knowledge, right? So I understand the concept behind fact checking. However, especially since COVID, when fact checkers were introduced to social media, they were highly biased and extremely biased politically as well.
And those words came from Mark Zuckerberg himself.
Yes,
in an interview with Joe Rogan, because I watched that one. Himself, he said it.
He said it, right? And it's weird because he probably denied it for years before.
Right, but he said it now.
Did you ever get fact checked or no?
All the time. Sometimes I wanted to post something on Instagram just to I don't know, this is what I read and I found it interesting, and I would get this little...
Was it always about natural health type of stuff?
Yes.
Most of the time.
And then I would get this little notification, or even they would let me post it. I'm sure they were filtering who can see it, who agrees with you, because I know that the algorithm has that. They know that stuff, not just TikTok. But I was like, it's weird. Like, why some people that believe something different than I do can post and I cannot post. I'm nobody. Like if I'm not a doctor, but I'm just a person that wants to post something. Why can't I?
Yeah, let's take for example, right? You're dealing with a health issue.
Yeah.
And let's assume that some natural plant, it gave a group of people relief. It worked out for them. Mm-hmm. But there's no research behind it because there's no funding. There's no idea. It's not a good idea to fund that plant because there's that much money in research. Does it mean that it invalidates, or is it not true that it helps people with that condition? Mm-hmm. Not really. Right. So I think the fact checking only benefits the things that are highly subsidized, or that there's a lot of money behind it to research it.
Or only the proper places researched it. Because you could have somebody who did really good research but isn't a government organization.
Exactly.
Then...
And it was huge with ivermectin. Mm-hmm. Every time you posted something about ivermectin, fact checker. And then you would get your account banned or turned off for a while until you were able to get back in it.
What's the name? Sorry, Laura. What's the name of that doctor back when the pandemic hit first year that did an interview with Joe Rogan? And he's part of, if not the person that...
the mRNA vaccine?
Dr. McDougall or something. Anyway, that the interview, you couldn't find it anywhere. And that was, for me, that was crazy. That's when it's we're entering a crazy time. I wish I could find that.
I don't think...
Let me see.
I like the idea of what they're trying to do now. They're moving away from fact checking to more community posting.
Yeah.
Meaning that you post something, let's say about chiropractic in general, and there's community posts, and people can chime in there and they can give their perspective of this is what I've seen in private practice. Because just because there's not a big research about it, you cannot invalidate 20, 30 years of experience from a practitioner that probably never had the time or the energy or the money to do a fully funded research. However, he's treated over 10,000 patients and he's seen benefits in several things.
Right.
So I like the community post idea. And then people, once they look at the community posting, they can make their own decisions about whether this is true or not, or whether this might be beneficial for them or not.
Yeah. And you should really let people make their own choices. I feel like for so long, it's like, no. We'll tell you what's right and we'll tell you what's wrong. Yeah. Did you find that?
Yeah, Dr. Peter McCullough?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
McCullough? Yeah, that one. And he's a cardiologist, board certified. And he's one of the first ones that actually openly talked, and he got banned from Facebook, everywhere. You couldn't find that guy.
So do you think these not just bans, but just this restriction being lifted, do you think we're going to actually see, your dog loves me, by the way, you're going to actually see are things going to change in the natural health world? Is this optimistic? Do you think that people are going to actually have natural health as an option?
That's a great question. And I think the people that still love medicine, they'll take any pill in the face of the earth, number one. I think there's still going to be bias, regardless of what they see in the community posting or whatever it's being posted in social media. However, the people that are trying to make better and more natural health choices, at least they'll have access to the content and the information so they can make an informed decision. So, and then there's also a lot of people out there that do, like I said, they do their research with their patients, and they probably found certain things from private practice that would be beneficial for patients. And if it wasn't for their social media posting, nobody would ever try it. I mean, I see it all the time. There's things that happen in my practice that I necessarily cannot explain them.
Yeah.
There's probably no research behind it, but we see them over and over again.
But I mean, the thing comes back to, like, you don't know what you don't know. So there's so many people in the world, I feel like maybe they haven't tried chiropractic, for example, because they don't know.
They don't know.
They've never experienced or met somebody who came up and said, hey, this worked for me, right? And if you weren't allowed to talk about that, and unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, social media is where a lot of people have their interactions now. They don't see as many people on a day-to-day basis, so they look to social media.
100%. You know, one thing that I do in our offices is, which I'm sure that's not something you can do, and I'm sure some chiropractors even got in trouble, but I say it, is someone calls in and they're like, hey, I cannot come in to the appointment because I'm sick, or I was exposed. That was actually really big during the COVID time.
I'm sure.
Got exposed, so I don't want to put anyone at risk. And one of the things that we trained on, or it's just natural for us, is like, when you're sick, this is the time that you need to come to the office. I don't care. Don't worry about me. I'm good. My immune system is good. Whatever you bring, I'm gonna be. I know what I can handle because I have. I get adjusted. I eat healthy, and I get the part where, but I don't want to get other patients exposed, and I meet them where they're at. I completely get where you're coming from. How do you feel about putting you in a room where there's no one around you? We're gonna clean before you, after you, but I need you to come in and get adjusted.
Right.
Don't walk away from that, because I feel like in times of need, that's where we need to be there for our patients. Why would I be like, no, stay home, like stay sick, and then 2 weeks go by, you're missing work, you're not there for your family, your kids. No, like we need to be part of it, if not the solution of like, come in, let's get you adjusted, get like a boost to your immune system, wake it up. It's not that we're going to take your cold away. We're just going to give the tools that you need to fight whatever you're fighting, you know?
But if you didn't know that chiropractic could help get your body functioning better faster, you would never try it.
Nope, never.
And 4 years ago, if I posted that on social media, hey, if you got adjusted, you'll be able to recover faster, I'd be fat checked. Or it could be anything. I can actually talk about a root or about a plant that can actually help with your immune system. And if it's not federally funded or research, I get fact checked as well.
So it's just sharing information that otherwise was being kept almost secret or in the dark.
Yeah, literally.
I wonder why.
Profit over people again. So there's a lot of things. I think fact checking, but what people are concerned about is misinformation or disinformation. But you just got to empower people to do their research, right? And look at things better and discern, is this true or not?
You got to trust people to be discerning too. I mean, because you're saying, I get the whole fact, misinformation or whatever, but how do we not know? And we've talked about in other podcasts, we've talked about the fact that eggs are now healthy. They weren't healthy. Red dye was legal and now it's banned. Like, so what is true? Anyways, you got to like trust people. And like, to your point, where does experience come in over
just federally funded research? Yeah, I think experience, it's more important. We can read a book about our body and our health and every condition known to mankind, but there's nothing as powerful than private practice, and just understanding that not every patient is the same, and that not every patient responds the same as the other one.
You know what's interesting? I feel like maybe in our culture we have lost the ability to listen to our bodies and listen to what actually is helpful. I don't know if you guys have experienced that with patients, but
absolutely.
like I feel like back before we had social media and everything else telling us, and government and research and all this stuff telling us what to do, I would think, when settlers first came to America, like it was like, hey, they were in tune somehow with their body and knew how to listen. Like, that makes me feel good. That doesn't.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely.
Have you found that to be true, that people don't?
In our culture.
Absolutely. I was going to touch base on that because, for example, like, and we cannot blame people for this because I feel like we all felt the same. Like, we grew up, mom, dad, siblings, and who's your authority? Mom and dad, right? Whatever mom and dad do, I'm sure they want the best for me, right? So probably mom has a medicine cabinet. And I grew up watching that. So when someone introduces something new to us, we're like, whomever it comes from, doctors, teachers, I don't know, any other alternative medicine, we question it. Because like, why would you know more than my mom and dad that wanted the best for me? And that's okay. To me, I understand that there could be some conflict when it comes to, but my whole life, I thought that this was correct. What were you going to say?
But I feel like in the United States, it's worse. I
mean,
I feel like the United States, everybody wants to fix everything with a pill.
Yes.
At least for Latin American culture, and I'm talking for Puerto Rico, I feel we make more natural decisions.
Right.
And you get better just by take this tea or eat
Tincture.
drink this thing or eat the other thing, or
what is it? You don't need to know. Just drink
or put garlic on your feet. I don't know.
I get
How
it.
do we fix everything in Puerto Rico?
No.
Vicks Vapor Rub?
Vicks Vapor Rub. That's actually...
I don't know if that's natural.
No.
No, it's not natural. But that's okay.
Apple cider vinegar fixes everything too, by the way.
What's the one thing we use in Puerto Rico that fixes everything? What do you think?
Vapor Rub?
Besides Vicks. I feel like you always do sancocho, like
Oh yeah,
stew.
like a nice
I don't know what
stew.
sancocho is.
It's
What
like
is
a
Sancocho is like a stew with all like the carrots and
because every
stuff.
time we know people are
Lots
saying
of
like,
herbs.
I'm gonna eat a stew.
Yeah, but like going back to what do you know? How do you know like the information that you're getting from the outside is correct? Because you always want to make the right decision, right? But to me, I know it's hard because you grew up knowing all of this. So when you get new stuff introduced to you, you just have to. It's hard. Not everyone wants to do the research. Yeah. But you also have to look. Okay, based on my experience, I'm 33. I'm 40. I'm in my 40s. I'm 50s. Are my friends sick? Do they exercise? Sorry, do they exercise? Eat healthy? No. Then there must be something wrong.
I always found it fascinating that people take advice from people who aren't healthy. Like, why would you take health advice from somebody? Like, look at you, Dr. Rogers. Both of you. I take health advice from you because you look healthy. I'm not gonna lie. If you were extremely overweight, I would not take health advice from you.
It's like going to my trainer. Our trainer is fit. Shout out to Joe. He's fit. Why would I want to look fit. So I'm going to do whatever Joe is doing.
But if Joe did not look fit,
I wouldn't do it. And then the other day I was talking to Joe and I was like, Joe, what do you think about, people that are, because I wanted to see his opinion on this. When you see people overweight and they're like training, and he said exactly what I was thinking. I was like, good for that. And I'm like, right, because there's also this shaming when you go to the gym or you see someone overweight walking. It's like, but what are you doing? That person is trying. So I was just like, yeah, it's a matter of taking the right steps and us staying in our own lane and in our business. But if you're fat, I'm not gonna follow. So whatever your opinions are and suggestions.
So let me ask you this as a wrap-up question. Do you believe that natural health, I'm just going to call it that, like alternative medicine, natural health, alternative health, whatever you want to call it, do you think it's on the rise, yes or no?
It is on the rise. We saw that after COVID.
Okay.
Actually, vitamin consumption went up after COVID. People were more concerned about making sure they were drinking their vitamin D3, their vitamin C, whatever it was. We saw a big shift in chiropractic as well. More people looking for chiropractic as a natural remedy, whether it was because of COVID or was it because of social media, such as TikTok. Still, regardless, people are calling in because they saw a video and they want to try it out. They really don't know what it is, but they want to try it out. So natural healing, it's on the rise. And people are starting to question more healthcare. If you think about the last 4 years, from COVID to today, everything's changing. The tide is turning. If it wasn't for the last 4 years, we wouldn't be talking about red dye, fluoride in the water. We wouldn't be talking about, what's the other thing? Eggs. We wouldn't be talking about vaccinations. But that's the hot topics right now. And with RFK now on the rise, I think it's helping turned that tide, and people starting to question even more modern medicine and the FDA and the government agencies and Big Pharma and Big Food, etc.
Didn't see that coming. What do you think?
It's funny because you were talking about vitamins, and if you would have asked me, like during COVID, I remember I got COVID like twice, and I was taking vitamins like crazy. But at the same time, I think about someone like your husband, Zach, where if I feel like I have a conversation with him, he'll be like, no, I don't take vitamins. I just eat red meat. And like, I eat my vitamins, I get them from my food. Like, why would I waste money on that, you know? And to me, that was like a new concept. Like, instead of me buying all these vitamins, which I'm sure they're good, but really, how much does my body absorb when I take it in a pill?
Very expensive urine. I don't know.
Right? How much do I urine? You know, I remember on this was like, because we didn't know better, right? But we're like, take like 6 vitamin D at once every day, and because I was sick, and I'm sure it helped. But I'm like, why would I? Now I look back and I'm like, can I get that from food and then not take all this crap? You know?
And there's 2 parts of that equation, right? Most of our food is nutrient deficient.
True.
Right? And that's where the concept of regenerative farming comes in, etc., where not only are you taking things from the soil, but you're replenishing it as well. Also, a lot of our food and the crappy food that we're eating is vitamin deficient. So that's why people have to supplement. However, if you're eating healthy whole foods that are nutrient rich, then you don't have to supplement. And the problem with supplementation and supplements is that it's a huge industry that it's like the pharmaceutical industry. It's just natural.
Right.
And if we're going to treat supplements like natural medications,
exactly,
we're back in the same spot.
Exactly.
We're only masking problems, but we're just doing it naturally, which is a big problem as well, because you're still not attacking your lifestyle. You're still not changing the lifestyle, you know, the things that got you in the first place. So I think supplementing can be as harmful as taking medications. You're just doing it natural. So it's still a problem.